The Android tablet market in 2020 is pretty stagnant to say the least. We still have releases from the likes of Samsung, Lenovo, and what Amazon does with its Fire tablets, but that's kind of it. Now the hardware for these machines is usually pretty good. The Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 and S7 Plus have gorgeous displays and incredible processors, and if you're looking to spend around $150 to $200, you really can't go wrong with what you get from those Fire tablets. Where Android tablets really tend to struggle is with the software. Whether it be a lack of attention from Google or just poor tablet optimization from small and big developers alike, that's really where the experience tends to crumble. So what is the solution if you want a big screen device for watching movies, playing games, and just enjoying all of your favorite apps, but on a device you're not going to hate using every single day? The answer is get an iPad. Seriously. As much as we love Android phones, the tablet market for Android just isn't there, and with a little bit of tinkering, you can make an iPad be kind of the perfect Google tablet here in 2020. I'm Joe Marion with Android Central, and this is how to take an iPad and make it the best Android tablet alternative. The first step in turning an iPad into a Google tablet is to download all of your favorite Google apps and services. Now the process of going through the App Store and downloading everything can be a bit tedious at first, but the beauty of the App Store is that almost every Google application is there. Whether it be Google Drive, Google Photos, Google Assistant, Google Keep, you name it, every Google app and service that you use on your Android phone is available for the iPad. What's even better is that these Google apps for the iPad tend to work and feel the same as they do from your Android phone. Menus and stuff are where you'd expect them to be, the general design is the same, and outside of some navigation differences just because of the way iPadOS runs, these are the same Google apps that you know and use on a daily basis already. And with the recent software update to iPadOS 14, you can now set things like Google Chrome and Gmail as your default browser in email applications. And thankfully, the process for doing this is pretty simple. All you have to do is go to the Settings app on the iPad, scroll down to the Google Chrome option, tap on that, and then indicate that you want it to be your default web browser. And the process is the same for Gmail as well. Setting default applications is currently limited to your browser and email. While that is kind of disappointing, it really does make a big difference in having the iPad feel more like that Android experience you're used to. With these changes made, anytime you tap on a web browser link or an email address, you're now booted into Chrome and Gmail as opposed to Safari and Apple's Mail app. Again, a small tweak, but in day-to-day use it really does make that big difference you're looking for. Another tip you're going to want to keep in mind is turning off notifications for duplicate apps you have. Now once you start using Google Calendar as opposed to Apple Calendar or Gmail as opposed to Apple Mail, you're going to want to make sure that you adjust your notification settings so you aren't getting the same notification over and over as a new email comes in or a new calendar event pops up. Once again, doing this is really easy. Go to the Settings app on your iPad, tap the Notifications section, tap Calendar, and then tap the toggle to disable all notifications. Now this also works for Mail, Apple Photos, or any Apple applications that you want to disable these notifications for if you do have a Google app to replace them with. Now what may surprise you is that you can actually completely delete certain Apple applications from the iPad entirely. Now this doesn't work for every single one, but for things like the Mail application, Pages, Keynote, Numbers, and those kind of things, you can just delete those flat out so you don't have to worry about notifications or just those pesky app icons popping up all over the place. You want to pick and choose which ones you want to keep and which ones you do want to delete, but if you want to go that extra mile to really making this feel like kind of a Google tablet and not so much an Apple-focused one, that is another option you have available to you. Now going back to iPadOS 14, another new addition is that of widgets. Now widgets did previously exist in older versions of the iPadOS operating system, but they have that new look and feel that iOS 14 introduced. Now the implementation of widgets on the iPad isn't as great as it is on iPhones right now, simply for the fact that you cannot place them anywhere on your home screen and they're still limited to that weird section on the left side of your main page. Even with that being the case, these new widgets look and feel a lot better than the old ones iPads previously had, and it's a nice touch to just kind of flesh out that home screen experience and make it feel a bit more comfortable and a bit more familiar to what you have on Android. Adding on to all of that stuff, we also need to talk about tablet optimization. Applications for the iPad just tend to be a lot better optimized and designed for that larger form factor than you find with competing Android tablets. And I will give it to Google that a lot of their main applications have that same look and feel, whether it be on an Android tablet or an iPad, but that story quickly changes as you start using a lot of third-party applications. You'll quickly find that a lot of third-party applications that are available on Android tablets are really just blown-up versions of those phone apps. Compare that to the iPad, where a lot of developers take the time to thoughtfully tweak and redesign their applications to look and feel like it was designed with the iPad in mind. And the iPad just has a lot of applications available for it that are not on Android whatsoever. Now, this is usually things like games or photo and video editing apps, so while it doesn't necessarily impact everyone, it does make the ecosystem for the iPad feel a bit more fleshed out. There's also just the matter of the general stability and improvements that iPads see as opposed to the Android side of things. Not only is Apple constantly releasing new models with new processors and pretty competitive price tags, but we've also seen in recent years this transition from iOS to iPadOS, which has allowed Apple to take even greater advantage of that large form factor, and that's just not something we see on the Google side of things at all. And outside of all of those smaller things with applications and Google services, there's just the fact that iPads are a much greater focus from Apple, and that's something you really see as the end user. Not only are we getting new hardware models released basically every year with new designs, processors, and pretty competitive price tags, but Apple is also much more committed to the software of the iPad. We've seen this transition from iOS to iPadOS, which has allowed Apple to take even greater advantage of these large form factors, but there's also the commitment that Apple has to at least 5 years of updates for basically every iPad that comes out. You compare that to Android, where Google really isn't developing any new features or designs or anything for Android tablets, and that you're lucky to get maybe 2 or 3 updates for basically any Android tablet that comes out. It's a very stark difference of one company taking tablets seriously and the other kind of thinking about them as an afterthought. Now, that's not to say that all Android tablets are just flat out terrible. I've enjoyed my time with something like the Galaxy Tab S7, and I think there is a market there for a $100 or $150 Amazon Fire tablet. But when you factor in that the iPads are now coming in at a variety of price tags, new models are constantly coming out, there's that software support, all the applications tend to be better optimized and an overall better experience, and all of the Google apps you would otherwise use on an Android tablet are available on an iPad and probably better to some degree. It's just hard to make the argument in an Android tablet favor when you're getting this better experience in almost every way going with an iPad. Now, of course, that is just one man's personal opinion. We'd now love to hear where you stand on this debate. If you're an Android fan or supporter, or if you're an iPad user, drop us a comment down below and let us know. Once you do that, be sure to give the video a like if you haven't already, subscribe to the Android Central YouTube channel if you for some reason haven't done that, and once you do all of that stuff, you can go ahead and check out the other videos we have here on the AC YouTube channel, or all of our reviews, how-to guides, and more over on AndroidCentral.com. I've been Joe Marian with Android Central. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.